Shalom, Akim Shalom. Before we begin this lesson, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us the truth. A sincere Shalom to the hopeful like this out there, listening, learning, and or teaching in truth and sincerity. Shalom. All right, Akim, so, I want to bring up this MOTB update. Okay, so I just saw this article. Very recent. This is from March 20th. All right, less than a week ago, right? It says China approves the first brain chips for sale and has a plan to dominate the industry. Okay, so as you can see now, it's a race to the best MOTB, right? You already got Neuralink, you got Synchron, you have all these other companies that have the brain-computer interface. Let's get this brain-computer interface for those of you that don't know. A brain-computer interface is a direct communication pathway between the brain's electrical activity and an external device, such as a computer or robotic limb, right? Because they had a lot of these presentations where they showed a man moving a cursor on a computer and playing video games with his mind because he had a chip in his brain, right? And so let's see, it says it works by detecting neural signals via electrodes, decoding these thoughts using AI, right? AI being a big part of this system, and translating them into actions to restore autonomy in those with medical needs, right? So, that's basically the whole spiel, is that, it's to help people, but we know what it is, man. All right. The scriptures tells us this is going to be a snare and a trap. All right. And really, the hour of temptation is upon us, man. All right, that time is coming when your faith in Yahweh Shem Shai will be tried, man. Okay, and so, just like you can look at, the moon landing, where they said there was a race to, against the Soviet Union and America and against this and that. It's this competition is showing you that this is near, man. Okay, now they already have the chip. Don't get it twisted, man. They already have chips. They already have the rice grain one, the RFID chip that goes in the hand. They already have more than enough of these chips, man. Okay, but as they apply the finishing touches to the infrastructure, right? They got the 6G. They want to, set up the 6G. They already got the 5G towers, right? They got to set up their draconian laws. They got to collapse the economy first. Create that great chaos so they can have an excuse to make this the solution to everybody's problems. Okay, but as they do that, and as they do that quickly, okay, they're going to have this race to the chip, man. Okay, it says while the United States and Europe are moving cautiously forward with clinical trials, China is racing toward the commercialization of brain implants, okay? So we're going to go ahead and read into it. It says China has made history by becoming the first nation to approve a commercially available brain chip to treat disability. Neo, the implant developed by Neuracle Medical Technology, translates the thoughts of a person with paralysis into movements of an assistive robotic hand. After 18 months of testing that proved its safety, China's National Medical Products Administration authorized the implant for people aged 19 to 60 with paralysis caused by neck or spinal cord injuries that prevent them from moving their limbs. Okay, and these are those false miracles, man, that the scriptures tells us about. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, right? The spirit of his mouth being the prophets. We're revealing the wicked every day, man, with these videos going out to the highways and byways. And we know that wicked to be Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the ruler of this world. Okay? And yes, China is competing, and Russia, so on and so forth, for this chip. But at the end of the day, this is the so-called white man's doing. Okay? Because we know the elites are ultimately all Edomites. Okay? And, at the end of the day, it's going to be through America that this all happens, through the beast rather, which is the power structure of NATO and the EU. Okay? It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. Man, this is a lying wonder, all right? And you saw it first with Neuralink, okay? Here in America with Elon Musk, okay? So ultimately, all these nations are following suit after America, man. They're going to be setting it up, okay? You know, which ultimately the elites rule all these, they have their hands in all these countries, man. You know, these international banking families, all right? And this, um, the language that's being used here, dominate the industry, it makes me think of winning the race to 6G, which I have pulled up here. Okay, I made a video about this a little while ago. All right, this is the whitehouse.gov. It says winning the race to 6G. This was December 19, 2025. They made this presidential memorandum. Okay, and section 1, purpose of winning the race to 6G. Okay, see how it's a race, man. It's a race because, like the scriptures say, the devil's come down unto you having great wrath. Because why? Because he knoweth that he has but a short time. So they're racing to get this MOTB mandated, man. Okay, let's read this section 1 purpose. It says the next generation of mobile communication networks, 6G, will be foundational to the national security, foreign policy, and economic prosperity of the United States. This technology will play a pivotal role in the development and adoption of emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, robotics, and implantable technologies. You see? Okay, so, these things have been in the works, man. Okay, and while all these distractions are going on with the wars and the Epstein files and, ICE acting crazy out here, okay, which, it's all a part of prophecy. Okay, but more importantly, this chip, man, which is, they've been really quiet about it, but we know it's coming, man. We know it's coming. All right, it continues. 6G will also provide faster, more resilient, and more secure communication networks, and that's how it's gonna be done, all in the name of security, man. You see, that's the excuse they use to push the digital IDs over there in Vietnam. They were saying there were too many hackers. There was, people, not hackers, Salakia. They were saying that people were committing fraud, and it was a security concern. So they had to use biometrics and digital IDs, which they're already pushing worldwide, man. The next step is to put that digital ID app underneath your skin through a chip. Okay, so it's all in the name of security. It says, and more secure communication networks that can be utilized for national security and public safety purposes. Okay, and it goes into it. Okay, but as you can see, hey, that chip is being talked about now, man. So hey, there's a MOTB update, real quick hit. Just going into that, and we know that ultimately this will be made mandatory for buying and selling, man. All right, you got this one, and then you got the rice grain one that goes in the hand. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I just want to we're going to go ahead and grab it, man. This is Revelation 13 and verse 16. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. That's right, either the rice grain that goes in the hand, or Neuralink, or the Chinese version that goes in the brain, man. You see? Okay, and what does it say? All right, because we know it's going to be mandated, like it says here, and he calls it all, right? So that's why they got China working on it. That's why they got Europe, America. All these nations are going to have available chips for the people to take, man. It says he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, man. So yeah, this is going to be mandatory for buying and selling very soon, Akim. All right, so stay strong in the faith, all right, and understand that this is going to be like the scripture says, it's going to be a time of trial, man. Okay, as they crash the economy, all these draconian measures, all these incentives they're going to have for people to take these chips. Okay, you got to stay strong and endure to the end, man. All right, because in the end, we'll be saved if we pass this test. Lord's will would be the elect. And the scriptures talks about that. Let's get that precept. All right, this is Revelation 3:10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. All right, we staying in this truth, staying diligent, doing what we're supposed to be doing, rehearsing the righteous act, keeping the faith in Yahweh Bashim Shai, following the true doctrine. Okay, it says, I also will keep you from the hour of temptation, man. So only the Lord can keep you from this damn chip, man. Only the Lord can keep you from this chip, this brain-computer interface, man. Everybody else is going to take it, man. They're going to get weak. They're going to fold. You got to remember that the Lord controls all things, man. Everything that happens on this earth is mandated by the Lord, man. A tree doesn't, a leaf doesn't fall off of the tree in your backyard unless the Lord sanctioned it, man. All right? So it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep you from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right, so we got to keep the word of the Lord's patience, Akim. This thing is coming. It will not tarry. It will surely come. All right. So with that, I want to finish by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us His truth. His sincere shalom to the hopeful like this out there listening, learning, and or teaching the truth in sincerity. Shalom wa. Abad babal. Shalom.